Now, back to Voltron, defender of the universe.
Welcome, Voltron fans, to the 10th anniversary of Let's Voltron, the official Voltron podcast. My co-host, Greg Tyler's here.
Hello, Mark Morell. We got a big event going on.
It's not every day you hit 10 years.
I know, that's like 1/1000th of how long Voltron was in stasis in the Legendary Defender show.
Right.
But for us, it's a more momentous occasion because the podcast has been around for 10 years. Is that crazy or what?
Yes, and we are so excited. We have some very special guests at the beginning here, and then we're going to take it to VoltCon, and we're going to show a whole bunch of other guests that we have at VoltCon as well. But right here in the studio, I would like to introduce our friends from World Events Productions, Bob Koppler and Tiffany Alardi. Welcome.
Hello, guys. Good to be here.
Thanks, guys, for having us.
It's an honor to be on for your anniversary episode. You know, back 10 years ago when this first started, like I could actually get a booking on this show, but it's rare nowadays. And it's an honor to finally be back on the show. And for the anniversary, no less. So I do appreciate that.
Yeah, we've aged it up a little bit. Can you tell?
Well,
and we've all gotten a lot grayer. Yes,
a lot
grayer. The two of us have anyway.
More mature. You know, the beard. You're
I
like,
don't know about that.
Mark has the Letterman thing going on.
Yeah, that's
David Letterman. Some people have said Chris Christopherson. Some people said Grizzly Adams.
Yep.
Yeah.
Grizzly Adams did have a beard.
Yeah.
I'm going for the middle-aged, out-of-shape G.I. Joe action figure look.
There you go. All right. So we wanted to thank World Events Productions. We want to thank Bob and Tiffany and Caitlin and everybody there. And we just want to say thank you for allowing us to, be supported by you guys all these years and to have you as a partner on this podcast. This has been a wonderful 10 years.
Mark, you are so welcome, and it's mutual. And I want to thank you guys, and I've said this many times, but the energy and enthusiasm that you guys foster around Voltron and the love among the fans that you guys generate, it's just remarkable. And the people that you've put together to come on this show, I mean, just from the original series all the way through Legendary Defender, I don't think there's any that you haven't talked to. And so it's been a treasure trove of Voltron history, and just really, really fascinating for me to listen to and watch over the years. So
thank you. Very kind of you.
It's been really special for us. We've had, over 400 guests on the podcast, and they come from all walks of life and from all areas of the globe. So it's really special that we could have, Voltron fans from everywhere. And then so many fans contributing to all the other podcasts where we actually had guests who may have been people who worked on one of the shows, or, somebody who was in the business that, was either doing art or cosplay or, music or something related to Voltron. And just being able to share that with everybody, in one of these podcasts in this type of medium,
Yeah. Yeah. It's been everything from, directors to voice artists to fans. So it really has run the gamut of like the entire ecosystem of Voltron. So you guys have touched on just about everything.
Yeah, it's been really, really special. We still are able to go back to VoltCon now every year and be able to share a similar type of experience that we do on the podcast as a panel at VoltCon, and put those together every year now and see some of those people that we've actually already had on the podcast as guests at VoltCon. It was really, really cool.
Yeah.
And meet many more new people too, which is also cool.
I've always been amazed at how you were able to get so many people on the show. especially after doing the bookings for our little short-lived Voltron
Mhm.
live show. I was in charge of getting the bookings there, and I mean, it was a challenge trying to track some of these people down. So I've been amazed at how you guys have been able to get such big names on the show, and it's been so fun to watch.
Well, thank you.
Thank
It's been
you.
a lot of fun to have them on. I never would have imagined. I've been on the podcast for a mere 8.5 years of the 10. And as I
Super
look back,
impressive.
it's just remarkable to see, well, 7.5, 8.5. I'm losing count. But in any case,
I want to steal your guys' booking agents, whoever they are. They're very tenacious.
So, the one thing is, over all these 240 episodes, which, by the way, we will be saying in when we talk about Voltron, the rest of this podcast will be taking place at a panel at Voltron, and Voltron people will be our guests on the podcast. But there was one episode that we did where we had a boy interview us for a school project.
that was a blast.
Yeah.
I don't remember how old he was, but he was.
I think it was
young.
only like 14.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
A little older than
Wow.
I thought, but that was a lot of fun.
Yeah. But I mean, it was pretty incredible that there was somebody out there saying, as a school project, they wanted to do an interview with the hosts of Let's Voltron, the official Voltron podcast.
So he interviewed you.
Mhm.
Yes.
That's what
Yes.
happened.
Yeah.
And was he interviewing you about what it's like to have a successful podcast, or was he interviewing you about Voltron in particular? What was this? What was
A bit of both. It
Yeah.
was about the podcasting and about Voltron. Yeah.
Was he a VLD
Yeah.
fan?
Yes. Yes, he
Very
was.
cool. Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
Yep. Getting the next generation in there.
But we came up with a top 5 list for our for getting together for this 10th anniversary, because Tiffany is helping us do something special with Voltron. So
Yes, absolutely.
why don't you tell everybody, Tiffany, exactly what we're doing leading up to the release of this podcast?
Yeah, sure. So we are so excited to be able to celebrate you guys and your huge accomplishment. So the week leading up to the actual day of the 10th anniversary, which is December 16th, if anybody needs to write that down, because that day you guys will be coming out with your anniversary podcast, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And leading up to that, each day we will be playing on our Facebook page your top 5 favorite podcasts. And each day when you watch, I'm going to leave a question in the comments, and everyone that comments and answers my question will be put into a drawing to win a signed print of the Let's Voltron podcast with Mark and Greg. I think, is that it? The signatures are Mark, just the two
Yes.
of you, correct?
Just the
Okay.
two of us, right?
Yeah.
And we actually signed those while we were at Voltron.
Right.
Yep.
So I have those, and there'll be one given away each day. And then on the 16th, if you tune in, everybody that comments on that day will be getting a podcast sticker sent to you that day, just for commenting and saying something great about the guys and all they've done over the past 10 years.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you.
That's right.
Oh,
So-
yeah. The least
so-
we can do.
So are we allowed to say what those top 5 podcasts are, or are we going to let those be a surprise for people when they see them posted?
Leave that up to you. I don't know. What do you think?
Do it. Do it.
All right.
All right.
So for
Let's do
anybody who's lucky enough to see this, then you're going to get to see the top 5 podcasts. Now, this was obviously very hard for Greg and I to come up with a top 5 out of 240. That's like choosing from all of your children, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, if one had 240
Yeah.
children.
Hopefully
Right.
nobody has
exactly, which we do,
Wow.
you know.
We do?
Yeah.
Oh, the episodes. I'll say, what do you know that I don't know?
So So for reasons that we have, we came up with this top 5, but that doesn't mean these are really any more better than any of the other ones we've done, because some of the things that we've done on a podcast is like having everybody, contribute by sending in emails or, any types of, we even at one point had people sending in sound files, artwork, all types of things. We did a special thank you to the VLD producers, and we had people send in from all over the world. 300 people from all over the world sent us in little clips, little video clips. So, I mean, just that type of thing happening over the last 10 years is just amazing. But then to have all those guests that we had on, we had people on to help us with episode reviews. We had people from everywhere, and it's just amazing that we as two hosts, one guy from Pennsylvania, one guy from Ohio, just being able to have that all happen, in the comfort of our own home.
Yes. I echo what you said there just now. I can't add anything to it.
But we've also been to places like New York Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con, Emerald City Comic-Con, RetroCon, VoltCon, WonderCon. Yeah, so there've been a lot of cons and stuff like that we've gone to. We even did a podcast episode at a garage in Brooklyn where we had a party at New York Comic-Con.
Yeah.
So
that was a lot of fun.
That was fun.
So
But
I guess this is all leading up to the fact that we got to pick 5.
yes,
And by picking 5, we're not discounting the other 235.
yes. So we're going to start off with, we're going in episode order here. So from episode 1 to episode 240. The first one was episode 19 when we had Bob's dad, Ted Koppler, on with us on the podcast.
That was a good one. Yeah.
That was before I had joined as co-host. I'm sorry, Bob, please.
No, I'm so glad you guys did that, because that's something that always have to go back to and listen to, and just hearing my dad's thoughts on the origin of Voltron and what was going through his brain when he found the show, and just this kind of the shock of it all, the surprising success. You just never expect to see something like this just kind of overnight take on such popularity, and he had plenty of misses leading up to it, which you don't hear about, but
Right.
he found a hit, and what an exciting time that was. So that was a cool one.
Voltron was more than just a space adventure. It was different than most of the other animated series. There was stories behind it. There were personalities that you relate to. Whether it's Pidge, the computer guy, Honk, the big guy, Keith and Lance, and certainly Princess Allura. She was more than a princess. She was a technician. She was smart. She was bright. She fit into the Voltron Force team. It's terrific that people recognize, and that it was a coming together, and that's what makes the world happen.
I was amazed by how not only enthusiastic he still was about Voltron, but how much he remembered, not just about the making of the show, which you would expect, the behind the scenes, the business side of it, but that he remembered each of the individual characters so vividly. No one at the top of a company has to remember that or be expected to remember all that detail. And for him to have that enthusiasm and memory of the show itself, the content, not just the putting the building blocks, the business building blocks together, was really amazing to hear. So it was just amazing. Such a an innovative person.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Greg. And I mean, he did have and Tiffany will attest to this, but he had a true love for these characters, and just was very passionate about making sure they were always treated respectfully in the right way in every iteration of Voltron, and just protected them, like very, very vigorously. And so it would be actually frustrating at times, because he would be adamant that something is not becoming of a character or whatever. It's like, well, Dad, tastes evolve and people change, and he's like, no. Laura would never do that. Like, all right. Yeah, he was very passionate about it, and he was a very humble guy. I think that's what I appreciate about him in a lot of ways. There's entertainment is full of big, oversized personalities, and some people assume that, like, my father was sort of that way, but he was not. He was very, very kind of reserved and to himself, and to see, I think, the impact over the years of what Voltron had on people's lives who remember watching it as a kid. Like, nothing gave him more joy than, like, when a stranger would just see him, on the street or a restaurant, and they'd point out, or somebody would mention that something about Voltron, and be like, wait a minute, you brought Voltron here? Like, you were the Voltron guy? And he'd just be like, you've heard of Voltron? And he would be so happy. And so, like, just to know that it had an impact, just on one person's life, let alone millions, was just so humbling for him. And it was really something. And, it touched him really deeply to hear from fans.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he truly, truly cared about Voltron, about the brand, like Bob said, about the fans. I mean, he went above and beyond, had one of the biggest hearts of anyone I've ever known. And I had the privilege of working for him for 25 years. So we spent a lot of time together, traveling, going to MIPCOM to, try to sell Voltron. And he was just so great at showing me the ropes and explaining everything that had gone on through the years. And the stories were amazing. And just a lot of things that I was so grateful for and honored to be able to have spent that time with him.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And what a gift it was for Mark to be able to speak with him on the podcast in that episode. What an amazing thing, and for him for your father to be able to share those memories and his enthusiasm for the brand with fans.
Mm-hmm. Number 2 was episode 53 with Jack Angel and Franklin Kofod. One of the special things that happened in that podcast, we talked about Jack Angel's book because he had written a book or two. And we had also had an opportunity to direct Jack Angel in a little scene that I wrote. And it's on our YouTube channel as a video.
Yeah.
And we have shared that with people at VoltCon and everything, but it's extra special for us to have been involved in something like that, to have him basically play Zarkon one more time.
And now, back to Voltron, defender of the universe.
Hagar, have you devised an evil plan for getting me on Lex Voltron?
Yes, my lord. I'm using my magic to make every Voltron fan on Earth bow to your wishes. They will no longer follow that blubbering Voltron. I will follow you.
I love the way your twisted mind works, you old wish.
Shall I have your ship prepared, my king?
No need, you idiot. I can do this all over Skype. Listen and listen well, faithful Voltron fans. Your days of following that feline fruitcake are over. He will never give you what I can provide. With my rule, you will finally get that precious live-action movie you have all desperately longed for. Join me, and we can rule the galaxy together. From now on, you will all say, "Let's Zircon!"
That was hysterical.
Yeah.
I love that episode as well. I love when you guys had the real, like the old school creators on the show to talk about what it was like to make the show, and just it's funny, you think about the show today, and you kind of analyze every episode and like, what were the creators thinking now? And but to hear from Franklin about like the production itself and just how stressful it was, and the incredible time pressures that they were under, and how they managed to get done what they were able to get done. It's always fascinating to hear from him about that whole process. And just, they were just, eager to get it done, and kind of, and in some ways didn't know what they didn't know, and just had sort of a can-do attitude, and just worked like crazy to churn this show out. Franklin and Peter Keefe and that whole crew, like it's just outstanding what they accomplished.
Yeah, but having this pair on together at the same time, and they were recording from Jack's house, and his wife was his agent. So
yeah, and his books are fascinating. They really are. They're quick reads, but they're one of them is about his past and the industry, and the other, as I recall, is about auditioning, and basically, you don't lose, you win just by auditioning, because you're getting in front of people, and you learn things that you can take to your next audition. So it was a very inspirational read, and I would encourage anyone who's interested in performing in any way to give that book a look, because it's a great read.
Right. So then our third one was episode 61. It was the first of several episodes that we had with Joaquim Dos Santos and Lauren Montgomery, the executive producers of Voltron Legendary Defender from DreamWorks.
Based on the content alone, this show has got to be a hit.
That was really what we wanted, just to bring this show back. Ultimately, hopefully please the old fans, but just make a whole lot of new fans, because there's a lot of kids out there that don't know what Voltron is. And it was such a big part of our childhoods that we just wanted to be able to do that for a whole other generation of children.
Oh, they're going to know.
Yeah, I think the goal was sort of that if you build it, they will come. So hopefully we've done just a good show, and people will flock to it.
Yeah, so let's talk about the rise of Voltron for a second here. In my mind, the big question was, once all the Lions are with their pilots, how do we form Voltron? Do we say some magic words? Will the Lions know what to do all by themselves?
Right.
This had to be a tough thing to get through when writing the scenes around this, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's something we definitely struggled with, just, conceptually thinking about how we do it in this version of Voltron. Mm-hmm. And you'll see, it comes up again in future episodes. But it's that magical realm between science and magic that not either one can really explain, that brings them together.
Well, in the end, it all comes down to teamwork, right?
Ultimately, yeah, that's really what it is. It's if they have a common goal and they're willing to work together as a team, then Voltron will happen.
Do you know how many times you had them on the show?
It was at least 8.
Wow.
8.
Because I also am including the times that we interviewed them at different things like WonderCon or New York Comic Con or San Diego Comic Con, but we would only have their interviews on the podcast. But when they actually came on the podcast with us, it was at least 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, amazing that that you were able to get so much of their time, because I just know how crazy busy they were putting the show together.
Yeah.
But what a gift that you gave to fans to be able to hear from those two about what they were thinking and what went into the show. I mean, it was fascinating for me to hear. I learned a lot that I didn't know before. So That was really cool. Every time they were on was really interesting.
And there were two other times. Greg and I actually got invited into Burbank at one of the recording sessions with Andrea Romano, and Joaquim and Lauren were there, and so was Kimberly Brooks and Jeremy Shada. Right.
Yeah.
So
that was great.
That was amazing. And then I got to go back, and Benjamin Kaltenecker had invited me to a tour of the DreamWorks facility where they actually made the show. So I got to see Joaquim and Lauren there too.
Wow.
Where all the magic is made.
Yep.
It's a cool campus, isn't it?
Yes. Yes, it is.
I mean, it's literally like one of those places that if you made a wish list of everything you would want in a workplace, Jeffrey Katzenberg like made it a reality. And it was like the commissary, there's like a koi pond, and there's just like ping pong tables. It's like paradise. So cool place.
Yeah.
For sure.
So just having Joaquim and Lauren on with us was so many times was great, but the first time was episode 61 when they were officially there.
Yeah, they were so generous with their time. It was a joy to have them on.
Right.
And they were always so entertaining. The banner back and forth, and those were always really fun episodes.
Right. So then, of course, we had to have episode 74 with the legendary Andrea Romano. When I say legendary, I mean she is a legendary voice director to so many shows that have lightened the lives of so many people. Because I can tell you that Voltron was her last show.
As well as polished and used the technology that we have to get better sound, to get better animation, a larger pool of talent to cast from. You know, back when Voltron was originally made, 100 people making a living doing voiceover for animation, making a living, I mean, solely from doing voiceover. Now there's probably 5,000 people making a living doing voiceover.
Right.
And so the talent pool now is just plain far larger. We can cast a far larger net. And you must also remember that years ago, and I can tell you this, having been an agent, it was very hard to get on-camera actors to agree to do voiceover. For them, it was a step down. It was, oh, no, it's like doing commercials. Oh, no, we're not going to do commercials. We're theatrical. And now, of course, everybody's asking their agents, please find me an animated project. Please find me a commercial account, because the paradigm has changed. Everybody wants to do voiceover. They suddenly discover it doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter if you're in your pajamas. As long as your voice is warmed up and you can act the part, it's a lot less trying than on-camera work. There's no memorization. There's really silly fun to be had.
Pro. I mean, she was a gift to have on that show. It was just a embarrassment of riches. Like to have Andrea and the actors that we had. I mean, and I got the opportunity to see her at work too, and just so just dead on with her direction and calm and just very in control, Cool seeing her work. And what was unique about Legendary Defender is the actors would all show up, and I think that was probably because of Andrea. But with a lot of animation, most of the time people will do their lines from their house, or they'll come in on their own time and they'll do their line, and then it's never like synchronous when like they'll all do it separately because everybody's got schedules and they've got to be on shoots or whatever. This cast showed up, and with limited exceptions, like they would record the whole thing together, and I think it showed. And I think Andrea was a big reason for that. Yeah,
she always preferred ensemble recordings. So yeah, that always makes for better reactions, and just it really increases the production value.
For sure.
And I had been lucky enough to interview her several times before that, face to face in some of the press lines at some of the conventions when we were talking about some of the Batman stuff that she had worked on, going back to the Dark Knight parts 1 and 2. That was like the first time, and then so many different ones along the way where she was a part of, whether it was one of the movies that they did that was direct to video, or whether it was one of the TV shows. It was just amazing to be able to have been able to catch her in points in time along the way, and then to have Voltron be the thing that's the last thing she did for her career is amazing.
Well, not on a high note, I'd say.
Yeah, exactly. So the last one that Greg and I came together on was episode 161. That was AJ Lucasio, Kay Lionheart, and Shannon Weir. And we were reviewing The Last Stand parts 1 and 2 from Voltron Legendary Defender. And what was special about that episode was that we brought Kay Lionheart on, and she did not know that AJ Lucasio was going to be on with her.
Oh, really?
And it made for a very special moment when you're talking as a fan and saying how great it would be to meet the voice actors and all that kind of stuff. And then all of a sudden that voice actor comes on and reviews for The Last Stand part 1 and 2.
Well, if you don't mind, we thought we would edit someone in real time. Do you want to introduce that person, Mark?
Sure. So, Kay Lionheart, I would like you to meet AJ Lucasio.
Hi!
Hello.
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! Hi!
Hi. What a
Oh my
funny
gosh.
reaction. How are you?
I was not expecting this at all. Oh my gosh!
That's amazing.
Hi. Oh my
Hi.
gosh!
Yeah, we didn't spoil the me surprise with the little icon in the corner. You don't see my little Jerry Lewis icon.
I was like, I didn't even recognize a lot. I think I was just so excited for this all around that I didn't even. Oh my gosh! I'm kind of blown away right now. Okay. Oh my god, great. Okay, I'm trying not to freak out too much, so I'm gonna be super professional right now and just be like, "What's up? How's it going?"
That's really. It's okay. I'm never professional, so it's all good.
Of course not. You're never professional. That's what he says. Okay. No, you're kidding me? Okay, no, this is incredible. Okay, thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm legitimately like, okay, no, we're calming down. Okay. Obviously, huge fan. You're an amazing human being.
That's awesome.
That was a
well
fun
done,
time.
sir. Well done.
That was just an amazing moment, and it was great to be able to bring that to Kay Lionheart. She was great.
Mm-hmm. She really was,
and she was one of our artists that came together for our 5th anniversary when we did 5 artists coming together to make a special collage of art. And we made shirts out of them, we made posters out of them, and we gave some of those away. And it was just an amazing collaboration of 5 artists coming together. And I know a lot of artists prefer to work alone sometimes, but when you get 5 of them that are coming together to collaborate on such a thing, and then they come up with what they came up with, it was just amazing.
it was.
Yep.
And of course, other treats from that podcast, of course, included having AJ on again. He was on several times, and he was always it was always great to have him on. And of course, Shannon's been on the podcast numerous times as a guest, and it's always a great time when she joins us too. So, but that moment where Kay Lionheart first learned that AJ was on with us was something I will never forget. It was just a great moment.
So. Those are our top 5.
Well
I think
done.
you're forgetting the one that I was on. You didn't want to.
So
we'll do the bottom 5 in another show.
We gave that one really we gave it really honorable mention. How's that?
Yeah, very honorable. Okay, I'll take that.
here's the thing. When we first had Bob on, that was March 27th of 2014. And we did 2 parts for this one. This was back when you were considered World Events Productions vice president.
Yep.
Do you remember that?
I do very well.
And then when we had you back, you were World Events Productions president, Bob Koppler. And that was on April 30th of 2016 when you came on as World Events Productions president.
Yeah, and I was like way more intelligent and well-spoken and diplomatic, and I think I grew a mustache. No, I didn't grow I should have. Yeah, funny. Not much changed except the title, right?
Right. So you had gone through, trying to bring Voltron Force, for Nicktoons.
Yeah.
And now you were on your second version of Voltron now in your career. So you had started with Voltron Force and then you moved on to VLD. What was the difference between the 2 of those for you? I mean, I know it was much more hands-on for the first one, right?
Yeah. I mean, worlds apart. So Voltron Force was we produced that directly. So we, cobbled together the budget and the broadcast partner and the distributors and brought aboard the toy company and all that. And with DreamWorks, it was a different deal. Like they did an agreement with DreamWorks did with Netflix for like an output deal for just a ton of animation, and they wanted Voltron to be part of that slate essentially. So we licensed DreamWorks to do the show. It's DreamWorks.
Mm-hmm.
We figured you guys are going to do an amazing job with this property, and it was also their vision of the property, because like we didn't, because back then they didn't have a lot of TV out. I mean, this was kind of a new endeavor for them. So
Mm-hmm.
so at first I'm just kind of like, Shrek Voltron, like that's gonna look kind of weird. I don't know, like because that's what they do. They do like CGI movies.
Mm-hmm.
But after my first meeting with them, meeting with Joaquin and Lauren and hearing about their vision for the show, and they had artwork to share, and that's their vision was, let's go back to the anime roots. Let's give them this anime look and feel. We're going to use Studio Mir out of Korea, which
Mm-hmm.
is kind of the gold standard, which had, they'd done Korra with them, and they already had this rapport with the studio. It was like if I had put together a wish list of everything I wanted in a Voltron show, like I would have put down everything that DreamWorks did with the property. I mean, it was just an ideal scenario. It's having just been through Voltron Force, where we were budget constrained. Like we had a certain budget to hit. It was a budget that was largely dictated by our broadcast clearance here in the United States. We weren't dealing with Netflix money at the time. This was largely before the streaming boom. There was not this like crazy money going into animation. So we had to kind of deal with broadcast budgets and sort of a lot of realities that Legendary Defender had the luxury of putting just a lot more into the show in terms of personnel and talent and all. And I don't mean to by any means short shrift the Voltron Force team, because I think what they accomplished was really amazing. The show was it was a learning process from start to finish, but it kept getting better and better and better. Our writer Todd Garfield, I thought, did an amazing job with his stories, and just the whole team on the show was a delight to work with. But it was nice to not have to be caught up in the day-to-day stress of a production when working with DreamWorks. So
right.
Very, very different experience.
Yeah. So we're here just before December 16th in 2023 here. And we're going to be releasing this part as part 1 of our 10th anniversary celebration. And then part 2 of our anniversary celebration is going to be our panel that we had at VoltCon, where we invited everybody who was in the room to be on the podcast with us. And I just want to say that was a special thing, and you're going to get to see it.
That was really cool to witness. Yeah.
Yeah. It was great.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I didn't know what to expect. Mark had these sneaky plans, and I wasn't sure what he had in mind. But my goodness, it was really cool to actually be there for it.
I brought up. I had to create a brand new logo, right? This is our. You saw our old logo behind me, right?
Oh,
you see that? Now, now I had to create a new one for the 10th anniversary. So
I like it.
I kept our main logo, and then I put the Let's Voltron over the top and the official Voltron podcast underneath, and then celebrating 10 years.
That's how you update a logo, man. You keep working, and you tweak it on the edges, and you evolve it rather than throw the baby out with the bathwater. I love it. It's a nice evolution.
Right. So we had pins and magnets and stickers and everything, and some T-shirts, So we had some giveaways during the podcast, and you're going to get to see that if you watch the next one, which comes out on December 16th, 2023.
Wouldn't miss it.
We'll be there.
So I really want to thank you guys for joining us for our 10th anniversary of Let's Voltron, the official Voltron podcast, and for all the times that you've been there over the last 10 years. Just thank you so much to Bob and Tiffany.
It's really our pleasure. This is number 240, or this is 241?
This one is sort of like 239 and a half. And the 10th anniversary one is 240. Okay.
Well, I just wanted to say I did some research before coming on. Seinfeld.
Yes.
180 episodes.
Okay.
Friends? Guesses?
I'm going to say 220.
236.
Oh, 236. Okay.
236. Okay. Let's Voltron 240. And by the way, those were half-hour episodes. You guys are doing like hour and a half. Like, this is a lot of content. But I do. But listen, I'm going to give you something to shoot for, because MASH had 251.
Okay.
Right.
You can do that.
You can get there. So MASH, Let's Voltron, 2 legendary shows. You guys, it's been a pleasure listening to you guys all these years. Here's to the next 10 years.
Yes.
Because there's a whole lot more to come.
Yes.
In the Voltron universe. I'm very excited with what we have in the works. I know I feel Mark has seen a teaser. Some of the Voltron attendees have seen a teaser, but we have some really, really fun stuff that we're working on, and I just cannot wait for it to come to fruition. So,
neither can we.
More to come.
We are super excited and thankful to you both, and we'll keep the torch burning. And keep checking out the Voltron store, and keep checking in with you too on the latest and greatest Voltron info. So thank you.
Yeah,
absolutely, guys. And that's an apt metaphor. Keep the torch burning, keep the flamer alive, and let's Voltron. That's all I can say. So
yes. All right. So we'll see you all for part 2 of our 10th anniversary celebration on
Let's Voltron.